Video number 25 plus. Public enemy number 1. Hello? It's obviously about time.
The all-time champion of serial killers. Today, some physicists say that time does not exist.
In a certain sense, it is true that we invented it. There are actually two different approaches to time, linear or cyclical.
Western philosophy favors the linear approach with the notion of causality, whereas in the East, it is the cyclical approach that predominates. In this cyclical perspective, the serial killer is just recycling. We indicate in a small table what makes the difference between the two approaches, which obviously have consequences at the level of collective mentality, the type of religion and philosophy, and this is perhaps what makes it difficult for a Westerner to deeply understand the psychology in Eastern culture, which is reflected in music and graphic arts, and vice versa.
The approach to death and the status of ancestors are also very different in the two types of cultures.
To reconcile the two ideas, we could symbolize the evolution of the world with a spiral. We never go back to a previous state, but we periodically encounter similar situations. It is interesting to note that the first measurements of time, concerning long durations, aimed at anticipating phenomena known to be cyclical, the alternation of day and night, the cycle of the moon, that of the seasons, and the succession of years. It seems difficult to know from when it became important to measure short durations, of the order of magnitude of a second. The first devices for measuring short durations, however, appeared as early as antiquity, clepsydra, water clock, and thus the precise measurement of time is actually very old. The devices have been perfected and their size has decreased as technology has advanced. We now have devices that are reputed to be extremely accurate, but it seems that no one is seriously asking the perhaps fundamental question of the comparability of today's, yesterday's, and tomorrow's time measurements. We consider as a basic axiom that the cyclical phenomena that led to the definition of the first units of time, day, then hour, then second, are truly periodic and that there is neither discontinuity nor progressive deviation in the long term.
Today's time measurement relies on phenomena thought to be much more reliable in their regularity than the astronomical phenomena that led to the definition of time units.
But to be honest, it is a hypothesis that could be contradicted in the future if, for example, we discover that atomic orbitals are subject to dimensional drift over a very long time, which would have an impact on phenomena that we thought were strictly periodic. I would like to remind you of my hypothesis and my video on a possible arrow of time at the atomic level. Relativists have mixed time with space, and the assumption of the constancy of the speed of light in a vacuum allows for the identification of measurements of lengths and durations.
In special relativity, there is no longer absolute time, nor indeed absolute space.
We are told that the proper time of a spacecraft depends on its speed, that is to say that clocks attached to objects moving relative to each other will indicate the passage of time at different rates. The extreme case would be the photon, which travels exactly at the speed of light. It is said that time does not exist for it because its proper time is zero. It is difficult to reconcile this idea with the fact that the photon interacts with matter, thus causing events that alter its trajectory.
For him, everything that happens to us would therefore happen at the same time? Difficult to make sense of such an assertion. If it's true, it somehow means that the photon doesn't belong to our world, while still interacting with it. I even have a video devoted to that eccentric Mr. Photon which you might consider viewing after this one. The puzzles that are regularly brought up all over the place about particles in quantum mechanics seem pretty innocent compared to this one. I leave this question open, not having presently the slightest idea of the beginning of a solution.